Yeah, we're good. We're going. Welcome back to AA.
12 step.
12 steps to AA. That's slushy, that is.
What is it?
1,000 calories. There's 1,000 calories in this.
1,000. Dang.
I lie. It's about 910.
Wow.
But yeah, it's my bulking shake in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
So I have 150 grams of oats, a scoop of like 5 grams of creatine, a scoop of protein, which is about 30 grams of protein, and then just frozen fruits.
Right.
And then I put caramel sauce in here today just because
Oh, nice.
I want to keep bulking up, and it's so hard. So I've got to add more calories to it, you know what I mean? So
Do you feel it working? Is it working?
Yeah,
Is it hitting?
for sure.
Is this the first time you made it, or is this like
No,
a regular go-to?
No, it's a regular everyday thing.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so, just my diet's been trying to smash heaps of food and just trying to put size on and stuff like that. And it's difficult, but it's fun. Yeah, microphone's on. You haven't got a switch. I've got a switch. They're two different microphones.
I see.
But yeah, which is cool. So I just really trying to focus on trying to put size on and just be healthier and fitter, which is cool.
Yeah.
So
Where did that all start from? What was the sort of... you've probably talked about this before, but...
I don't know, maybe. What do you mean, like looking after my health, or like just like
both? Like, what made you go like, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna just, go all in on this?
So long story short, for about 4 or 5 years, I've been around the fitness industry and like photographing and creating content.
I heard,
and stuff like that. So, I've always wanted the attempt of like trying to put size on myself and working out and all that kind of stuff. But as we all know, trying to work out regularly is a fucking it's to get it consistent. It's so hard, right? Like so hard to just be like to make it a part of your life. And then it wasn't until literally. So I've attempted a few times before to go to the gym, but I give up every like 4, 5, 6 weeks in and stuff like that. And eating was a shit thing and stuff like that. So.
Mm-hmm.
What really, really changed my mindset? What's really funny, right? Just before I get into what really changed my mindset, is it's funny. Like over the 4 or 5 years, I've actually collected quite a lot of knowledge around the fitness world because I was hanging out with like bodybuilders.
Just by association.
By association, like a lot of it, like understanding calories in, calories out, like training wise, like benefits of this or that, blah 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 blah. It wasn't like I'm coming into this with a novice mindset of like I need to figure out how many calories I need to eat, or what a calorie is, or like what your macros or micros are, or whatever it is, and understanding, the difference between how much protein you need to eat, and if you eat high protein with lower carbs, like what that does to the body and all that. Like just think like more in depth, a little bit more than just kind of like just the base level of like lift weights and eat heaps of food, right?
All the alchemy shit.
Yeah, exactly right. So what really changed my mindset this time around was, I would say 2 things. One was a book, and one was that project of the 10 weeks to 10 healthy habits.
Oh, yes.
But the whole thing was the Atomic Habits book was something that really changed my mindset when it came to creating habits.
It's a good book.
It's fantastic, right? And it really kind of made me understand that to make any kind of habit in your life come to reality or actually work, you've got to create less resistance to it, and you need to reward it in the way that our mind is set up to be like, if you reward something, it's going to want to do it again. But if you punish it, it's not going to want to do it again because it doesn't like punishment. It wants to keep us safe, right? We want to be safe when it comes to creating habits. And I'll give you an example, right? So with working out, if you say, for instance, go too hard the first week you ever go to the gym, right?
Yep.
You're going to be fucking aching, right? You're
For
going
sure.
to be so sore. You're going to be so tired and all that kind of stuff.
For sure.
People are messaging me, fuck off. So what happens is you actually get scared of going to the gym because you're like, well, you associate the gym with pain.
Yep.
Right? You don't want pain.
Of course.
Of course you want to feel a certain type of pain, like the growth pain type thing.
But essentially what you've done is you've just taught yourself that exercise equals pain, doesn't equal any gain at that short time frame.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then, for instance, even with my food, that was a big thing. It's like I needed to make sure that my food was convenient enough and easy enough for my brain to go, hey, I can consume these calories without any resistance to it. So say, for instance,
resistance is a big thing.
The calorie, so I'm on about 3,000 calories per day, 200 grams per, for anyone that's into fitness, 200 grams of protein per day, about 380 grams of carbs, and then very low fats. I'm at 90 grams fat per day, which is actually, I should, whatever. But for those guys, I'm trying to put more muscle on, lean muscle rather than put fat on, because like you easy put fat on, you just eat heaps of macas and shit, but you feel like ass. So yeah, going with the food, keeping it simple and easy. Like that shake right there is 900 calories with like at least 50 grams of protein. Like it's a big chunk of my daily intake of what I need to eat.
For sure.
Only one meal.
Yeah.
So I literally can only right now I can just have another meal that I'll eat two kind of main meals. I'll have a muffin or two muffins throughout the day, and then by the end of the day, I've really consumed about 2,800, 3,000 calories. So for dinner tonight, I don't have to stuff myself. Like it doesn't have to be crazy. I can cruise, or if I want, if my stomach's feeling pretty good, I can consume heaps more.
100%.
Whereas beforehand, I was like, I need to eat chicken and rice and this and that. Like I wasn't eating calorie dense food, so it was making it a bit of a punish because it was like I felt like I was stuffing my face. So I wasn't really enjoying it. So hence, in the short term of it all,
I know where you get to. Don't worry.
I just want to like the way I'm kind of sticking with it now. It's just making it easy and just simple. Same with anything, right? Like,
well, that's it, right? You know, in any aspect of life, we want to just alleviate any friction. And I tell this to people when they're selling a house, right? Like, you want to take away any tiny bit of friction that's going to make somebody look at your house and go, "No, not for me." Like we want to get this styled nicely, because if they see it unstyled, they're going to be like, I couldn't imagine my furniture here. That's the friction. That's the friction. We want to get rid of it. Get rid of it. Yeah. You know, and I want to make sure that if they send me an email, they're going to get something straight away, right? If they don't, they're sitting there waiting. They're like, somebody else has replied to me. The friction is there. Like I fucked up. I'm trying to alleviate that, get that away. And all these other sorts of like aspects to it, where it's like I want to make it just like this nice, super easy glide, where they can come through, just feel like at peace and come through and just be in it, and I can just take them through, and then just we benefit from that, and then they benefit from that too, because they're not getting hassled around.
For sure.
But it's just like you said, like nobody wants to deal with that friction. Like as soon as we feel like a little bit of like it's a little bit too hard, it's inconvenient. It's like we always just instinctually go like,
because what it is, it's too much energy on the mind and the brain. Decision, like we don't like to make heavy decisions. It's because it takes so much brain power away from
100%.
From living life, really. Like, and we need to, the brain is like set up in the way that it needs to reserve a lot of energy, so it can eat, it can live, it can sleep, it can do the things that it needs to do throughout the day. And what's really interesting, I'm really relating that to like a lot of stuff in my life, like business, relationship, money, working out, is just eliminating friction, right? And making it more convenient for me and my mind and my life. And I guess that's how big business, right?
Yeah.
Make millions and millions of dollars, because what they're doing is, giving an example is like, say for instance, Uber, right? They're making it easier for you to travel instead of like it's with a taxi, right? Taxis are like, you call them up, you got to book it in, all this kind of stuff. And it's
they're
just
more
expensive,
expensive.
it's not convenient, right? It's more expensive.
Yeah.
Whereas you just go on your phone with Uber and you just go, yep, sweet. And literally you could be hammered, drunk, which because I've been like that before, and order an Uber and somehow get home, which is fantastic. It's convenient, right? And safe. Like if I was trying to organize a taxi,
which allows you to be more hammered, more drunk.
Exactly right. Like last time I was in Sydney, man, like I don't even remember ordering the Uber, and then I hopped in the Uber. I remember that, and then I don't remember getting back to the.
I have heard very many stories of people being super hammered, and they jump in somebody's car thinking it's an Uber, and that guy's just happened to take them home. I've heard these stories.
That's kind of nice.
I thought it was very nice. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Like it's convenient. That's nice. Hey, like
so even don't even need the super easy aspect of having Uber, human beings seem to be really nice.
Yeah, some human beings for sure, but that's for sure. That's nice. I would. It'd be so funny. Like, yeah, man. Yeah. $43. Thanks, man. It's only up the road. Yeah, $43.
Yeah.
Just transfer it to me.
Just transfer it to me. Like, transfer what? I thought the app did it. Anyways.
Oh yeah.
But it's what's funny about that is like I was the exact same thing with the menu log, right? It's like you order the food, and like I did this the other day with like a Porto, and it ended up being like $100. I'm like, $100? I've got like 4 items. Like, how's this so expensive? And I was like, well, I could just drive to a Porto. But of course, I was just like, I'm home. I've got Av. I've got Aura. I got this shit. It's nighttime. We're sitting here. We're all together. I don't want to take myself away, even though it's only going to be like 30 minutes. And so I was like, I'll just buy it. But then a couple of weeks later, I like did the same order. Yeah. And I was at the place that time. Yeah. And it cost me like, I don't even know, like $60. Yeah. I was like, this like $40 extra for convenience. Yeah. And I was willing to pay that.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. We're so willing to pay for convenience.
That's it.
And
I always thought I was a little bit above that, but I was like, nope, I'm the exact same as everybody. Yeah. Convenience is king.
100%, man. Like, isn't it so cool? Like, if you can relate that to your business, if you have a business or whatever, you work for yourself, think about creating products around convenience and making 100%. It easier for people to consume your products. It's the same with our online content here as well, right? Like, we want to be able to make it convenient enough for these people just to be like, yeah, I'll watch that, rather than going to a website and signing in and this and that, just to be able to consume one piece of content. So,
I hate it when people do that. They put it behind a wall.
Yeah, behind a wall. And it's just like, that's one step. Like, 'cause we're so fucking lazy as humans, man. Like,
especially nowadays.
Yeah. Even worse now. But I mean, like, it's a lesson for us too, and I'm interested to see how we go with creating content and like I want to keep setting it up where it's more convenient for them to consume our content, like 100%. A lot easier. And I think putting them out on more multiple platforms rather than just being like, yeah, we're just posting this on TikTok and then Spotify. That's it. We could post it on like. Say for instance the clips and stuff like that, posting it on like TikTok Reels, YouTube Reels, Facebook Reels, Instagram Reels, like just
all the reels,
everything.
Keep
reels,
it real,
and all that. Keep it real, exactly. Right. Be real.
Yeah.
I don't even hit that. I had to go up Be Real last night actually, and I was like, what the fuck is this bullshit?
What's that? Sorry, Be Real.
It's a Be Real. Have you heard about it before?
No,
it's a new app. So
I haven't heard this.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's meant to eliminate. Have you ever heard of Did you ever heard of an app called Beam?
Oh yeah,
Casey Neistat.
Well, Casey Neistat's one.
Remember that one where you put it?
You put you in chest and you're just like, yeah.
So it's very similar to that in the way that the whole concept, you don't put it on your chest, but like it goes. It's all about just being real, right? So say for instance, I get a notification to be like, hey, post something now, right? I'll post like a photo of you, and then it will take a photo of me taking a photo of you. If that makes like, it'll take a selfie of me.
At the same time, or just...
Yeah, pretty much like a second between.
Oh, right.
And it shows, like, what you're doing in real time.
Right.
It doesn't that's look... The whole... It's not, like, to be honest, it's not aesthetically appealing.
No, it wouldn't be.
I went through, like, the discovery of Hannah's one last night, and it's just, like, random shit. Like, it's just... Like, and I understand it's, like, real life, but at the same time, I'm like...
Yeah, look,
what's the appeal?
Like, see, that's the problem, right? It's like people want the realness, the tangibility, and like they want authenticity, but they don't understand authenticity comes with a lack of aestheticism. Yeah. Now, aestheticism is what we all really crave. Just by nature, we love beautiful things. We love things that are pleasing. Yeah. You know, but unfortunately, real life is not.
No, it's
is
not.
Lack of.
Yeah.
Unless you believe in those Japanese philosophies of the ugliness of life, which is not many people do. You're probably going to look at these like not aesthetically pleasing things and be like, I don't want to look at this. You know what I mean? Like not many people are going to be interested by that. And so hearing that, it's like good idea, but nobody's going to want to like be in it really. Yeah. You know,
I wasn't satisfied when I was watching the.
Exactly.
I was like, oh, I felt dirty watching it. Like, does that make sense? You know what I mean? Like, I was like, fuck, clean up your room, man. Like,
clean up your room.
Some guy across the world just like, yo.
He's just there. He's just like, oh, Just will take a photo.
Be real. But he'll take a photo of the fuck. Like, I got a little bit of dirt under there and stuff. He'd just take a photo of that. I was like, bro, like, oh, anyway. I mean,
well, then that's
no one wants to see that shit.
That's just the convenience of that, right? It's just like, oh, well, I could go outside and make it nice, but whatever.
Well, it's convenient. Yeah, exactly right. But I don't think it's going to have any substance to.
That's what I mean.
Life.
So there's definitely a quality of, providing that substance and that something that's valuable, right?
Yeah.
Because a lot of us, I feel like a general consensus nowadays is that a lot of people are consuming social media in a different way now. I feel like a lot of people are sort of realizing this endless and mindless scroll that everybody's in, and we're all starting to really kind of feel it a little bit, kind of getting a bit monotonous, right? It's kind of wearing on a few people. At least I'm feeling that from a lot of people I know, is that they're just getting a little bit over it. They're kind of like, you're like, oh yeah, I guess, the rabbit hole is just, you're starting to get a bit more outside of it while it's like different every time, and you get addicted.
It's kind of like,
it's just kind of like, yeah, look,
it's kind of like the same shit,
I'm
man.
just, I'm just sitting here scrolling, like, while a lot of this stuff is entertaining, a lot of people kind of go like, yeah, but this is it. This doesn't do anything for me. Yeah,
and I think like, depending on the creator, depending on the person that's actually posting the content, like of course there's a lot of content out there that just it's just a bunch of nothing, like and to be honest, like some things are very, like, because you can get away with putting something out that's aesthetically pleasing, but it has no actual substance or value in the way of like education or motivating or inspiring or whatever it is. I guess in a way, like if someone posts like a photo of or a video or a drone footage or whatever of like this beautiful place overseas, and it's like that's inspiring to be like, I want to go see that place. But like it's funny, of course we're into this topic now. This is the first day, September 1st. I'm actually off social media for a whole month.
Indeed.
Right. So like I'm gonna just
great segue. This is perfect.
Which is awesome, right? So like it was, as Zach was saying there as well, it's like it felt like I was just endlessly scrolling, or when I'd go on social media, it wasn't necessarily to see what my friends are up to, but I was searching for something that didn't exist. And it was like something that was going to fulfill me. And on that as well too, I won't dive too much into it today, and I would like to just do an actual a wrap up of how I feel at the end of the month. But
for sure, after you do it all.
Yeah, after do it all. But I'm actually giving up porn for a month too.
Yeah.
So porn's a big one as well too, because it's so satisfying, and like it is fucking fantastic.
Well, more and more nowadays, like a lot of people, it used to be just so predominantly like men, but nowadays it seems like everybody's super addicted.
Like not just porn, but like just soft porn, like like it's such a distracting thing, especially with like ladies like posting like, and look, you post whatever you want on social media.
Well,
it's up to us if we want
thirst traps in general, right?
Yeah,
because like guys and
dudes
girls
do it too.
That's what I mean. Yeah. Like you got that dude out there chopping wood, and you see all the women reacting to that.
Yeah, for sure, exactly right. But I think what's interesting
sort of
as well too is like I think I mean like when dudes see dudes. And it's probably the same with women, like unless you're into women and you're a woman or whatever it is, or if you're dude, you're into dudes. Like if I see, say for instance, like someone flexing or like at the gym, just it's more testosterone building there for me. Like I get more of a benefit. I would rather see more dudes lifting weights on my fucking page than chicks in bikinis showing their asses off.
Right, because you're getting inspired.
Yeah, I'm getting inspired.
It
doesn't really necessarily have to be like them lifting weights, but it can just be like.
Yeah, because that's something you're striving towards, right? Like, that's your, for lack of a better word, that's your higher purpose at the moment. At the moment, at least, and you're seeing a visual representation of that.
Seeing something that you can see, like exactly right, and like, but even just, it's interesting as well because I've just recently moved into a barbershop with more guys and just more people, and it was.
Like more barbers?
More barbers and like more guys. Like just... So what I'm trying to get at is the energy when you're hanging around guys compared to women. Don't get me wrong, I love hanging around women. I love partying with women a lot more than guys usually because I love to talk a lot and I love to get into my feelings quite a bit.
You do talk quite a bit.
Yeah, it's fantastic. But that's good. That's why we're here. That's why we can do a podcast and talk shit.
Yeah, go on.
when I was hanging around, like I was cutting hair out of my wife's makeup shop because I was just like contracting size, you know.
I've been there.
And
for the haircut.
For a haircut.
Not the makeup.
Makeup as well. And it was like, don't get me wrong, after like as I said, I love hanging around women and I love like conversing and stuff like that because it's just a different topic sometimes, a different conversation sometimes. Compared like with guys where it's like just blokey shit and it can get a bit monotonous. But anyway,
but it depends.
The energy, right? You need like there's different energies, right? Energies with guys, like, you know, I'm not talking about frequencies and stuff like that. If you're into that, cool. But like there is a certain energy that when you're around guys and guys around guys, we have this urge that we want to conquer the world, right? We want to just achieve big things and do, you know, build things and grow things. Like it's I feel like it's embodied in most men.
It's an innate doer mindset, right?
Yeah.
Like, which is why, you know, women always complain that when, you know, they go to their man with a problem, he just comes up with solutions.
Yes.
Instead of just listening.
Yeah.
But that's just because we're inherently just doers and action takers.
Yeah.
For
most men,
mostly, but that's because, you know, we're a dual species, right? You know, we've always been that way. We complement each other.
Yes,
you know,
we do.
We're a complementary sort of type of species, so of course we're going to be like that.
Yeah, exactly,
you know what I
right. And it's like the thing is, and I think like I must kind of also just remind everyone here of we're about everyone, right? For humans.
Yes.
You know, we have to view like, you know, women and men, of course, we are very similar but also very different in certain ways. And as Zach said here, is like, you know, just we complement each other rather than be negatives to each other. Like, you know,
absolutely, all the time. You know, like I can't give birth.
Yeah.
You know, to extrapolate it to like, you know, the furthest reaches that possible. You know what I mean? Like it's like obviously there's those tiny nuances, but at a broader scale, it's like I can't give birth. You know, I can't bear a child. You know, things like that. But also, it's just like I can't have this innate feminine intuition that they have with you know, like you walk into a room and your partner's there, she's gonna know if something's off like straight away. You're not even saying or doing anything. She's like, "What's up?" She just feel it.
Yeah,
you know, and that's that beautiful feminine intuition that they can just really sense presence and they can sense emotions, but they're also cyclical too. They're cyclical beings, whereas us men, you know, we're just a day-to-day sort of basis of just fucking, you know, there's nothing, you know, if we get into a zone, we're just power through.
Exactly.
Like emotions, forget them. Like pain, forget it.
Yeah.
You know, like if
exactly
you know this, like we can run ourselves into the ground.
Big time.
You know how to, you know that stuff. Like we've both experienced running ourselves into the ground because we just are like that. We just, for better or worse.
Yeah, exactly
we can
right.
Just go and go.
100%. And like, whereas it can be a little bit of detriment, but at the same time, that's when we can achieve great things, and not say, for instance, women can't achieve great things. Of course they can. They can achieve fantastic things, like, and not just like giving birth or whatever. They can achieve things that guys can achieve as well. Like we can all achieve the same thing, except can't give birth. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and that's just a part of the nature there. But I mean, like, I think it's definitely gone past the way of like women can definitely be on the front line, or like, you know, become firefighters, or be an architect, or like, even a lot of what I've been noticing a lot more on social media is, especially on TikTok, I've been seeing a lot more women become tradies, carpenters, electricians, plumbers, which is really cool. And it's breaking down that stigma. Look, at the end of the day, I think biologically, if that's the right word, like men tend to be a lot more physically stronger.
Well, we like things. Women like people.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
You know, there's like apparently like a baby study is like little childs will like little boys when they're babies will look at like things, whereas little girls when they're babies they'll look at people's faces.
Yeah.
That's just an innate attractiveness to things like that.
It's so interesting, right? Like, and I think it's just a fucking good time, mate.
No, what I'm finding super interesting though is backtracking a little bit here. So do you sort of like frequencies? Do you like energy type like that? Do you think about that? Or
yeah, for sure. I definitely do. Like, I think like...
You sound a little bit off of it.
No, like, I think I'm very open-minded to most things and most things, pretty much everything really. Like if you throw something at me and I'm interested to study it and understand it better, like, and of course I'll just make my mind up. What's the word for that? That's give me proof. It's like not like religiously as well. Like it's like I need to know if it's real or not. And I can make my mind up. Anyway, whatever. You probably know the right word. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but yeah, I do believe in like energy. I do believe in like I do believe that people, look, I don't know, I haven't made my mind up about, like, if people vibrate at certain frequencies and stuff like that. I know that we're a ball of energy and, like, we're a bunch of atoms put together and stuff like that. So there must be some kind of, like, thing going on there. But, like, I know that if someone has, like, a high energy, it can be quite contagious. If someone has a low energy, in the sense of, like, you know, just being, like...
Yes.
Hey, how you going, guys? Like, you're gonna feel that emotionally, right? Like, you're gonna feel that through your body. It's the same with like if you're around someone that's inspired, like not just inspiring, but I think inspiring is a byproduct of someone's personality or energy. Is like, say for instance, they come into a room quite confident, open, like not over the top, kind of like, hey, how you going, guys? Like whatever it is, but like the way that they present themselves, of course, it's going to be a lot more contagious.
For sure.
To them be inspired, to them to be uplifted.
So let me say this is like, you know, there's been studies done where, you know, and you and I and most people will know this. It's like when you feel anxious, when you feel upset, when you have anxiety, if you can't cope with things, you can definitely feel the effects on your body, like straight away. Like you get sicker, you know, other things can start to happen in your body. Like your thoughts manifest into the physical realm through your body because, you know, you're thinking unwell thoughts, you're in an unwell state, and thus your body starts reacting with that. You're like more susceptible to sickness when you're in an environment that makes you anxious or makes you stressed. Like this is scientific proof if people value that type of you know wording. But the same is the opposite, right? If you're at a constant like high frequency, and I'm just saying that to encompass the whole spectrum of emotions, where it's just like,
for sure,
you know, I am not stressed, I am not anxious, you know, the opposite of all those types of, you know, not to say they're negative type of things to put it so blankly, but to just say that these things have these types of effects on your body, which, for better or worse, or a lack of a better word, are, you know, intrinsically good or bad, right? And so to say that is like, you can put yourself in a mind state, which affects, like you can put yourself in a frequency that affects your physical surroundings completely. Like I can put myself in a state where, you know, I feel really great about my life, I feel really great about my health, feel really great about this and that, and I'm happy and excited, whatever like that, and I can really feel like my body just being energized. Like I can feel when I wake up, I'm just like, you know, I'm ready to go. And like any conversation I'm having with people, I'm just bouncing off the wall with each other. And then things will like, I will only be like noticing like all the good things coming towards me in my life. Just, you know, it's just like, oh wow, I was just talking about that thing and it came through. Like I was just talking about that person and the email just came to me and I was waiting for that, you know. And it's just because I'm like, and it's so easy to ride that sort of frequency there. Then that's something like I've been learning about a lot from being with Av for such a long time too, because she's always been about that sort of stuff. It's super interesting. And
I think there's so much, like, I guess, like, not commenting too far into it, for sure. Like for me, because like I do, not to comment too much into it, because I guess like I'm not fully educated, but I do believe I do resonate with it. I do resonate because I do feel, especially when I'm cutting hair or when I'm with people through in the barbershop, I'm meeting so many different people. Like, so 10 people throughout the day aren't going to be all the same energy. They're not going to all be the same kind of vibe. And I was explaining this to someone yesterday about it. It's like, it's a great example is in the morning, quite high energy, like ready to go. And then by the end of the afternoon, you're like, you're tired, like your body's tired, your mind's tired because you've exerted so much energy. But someone came in the chair. He's my second last client of the day. It's 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and we had a fantastic conversation. He's just about to get back into like he was in real estate in Sydney, and then he came back. It was really cool, like really nice guy.
Nice.
But we were talking about like life in the way of, you know, reaching for more. I resonated with that guy a lot more than, like, say for instance the guy before him. We were just, or I think it was a kid that I was going to but the guys later in the
doing his maths
day, they were just kind of like, I'm just hanging out today, just kind of doing nothing. I'm like, like, sweet, cool for you, good for you, but like it's not, it doesn't vibrate with me because I'm like, I want to do fucking, let's go, I want to do some shit. So
for sure,
the guy at 5 o'clock, right, I was super tired. I was just like, yep, sweet, let's cut this hair. And then we got into the conversation. By the end of it, I was like, man, so good to have a chat with you, because we were talking about life. We were talking about, like, you know, what he's gone through, what I've gone through, and where we want to go and how we want to do it. And his energy brought my energy up, and my energy brought his energy up. I was like, at the end of it, thanks so much for this, man, because like I was like, I feel now motivated to keep going and just, you know, not just be like shut the lights off and just go be tired again.
100%. And it's also not. I'm not saying this to be like, you know, people sort of expect it to be like, oh, I'm always at that energy. It's not being like that. It's like, but your baseline is always there. Your baseline's always there, right? And just because, you know, you're dipping below baseline doesn't mean that your baseline has changed. You know, just because you're getting tired doesn't mean that your frequency isn't still there. Yeah. You know, because when you met somebody that's frequency was still there, your baseline, where you dip below, you came back up the baseline. You know what I mean? Or you came just a little bit over. You know, it's still there. Yeah. You've raised it. You know, where a lot of people, they never raise that bar. They sort of just leave it, you know, real low.
Just whatever,
it's just like, you know, I'll just kick it. You know, and for better or worse, you know, people do what you will, you know, but I feel like when you enter into life, and I feel like this all the time, like if I'm just awake and I'm, you know, consciously expecting the best, then I always get the best. Yeah. Every single time. Like I'm out there talking to different people all the time. And you'd expect, I get this all the time. I've taken so many people that are brand new to the industry out for door knocking. Yeah. Every single time, they're always expecting the worst thing. Yeah. Like, I'm telling you, it rarely happens. It rarely happens. And we'll go and door knock, and like we'll do like 10, 20 houses. And I'm like, how was that? And they were like, that was actually pretty good. I'm like, I'm telling you, it's really good. It's because your expectations. Yeah. And then they go out and do it by themselves, and they go like, oh, I got to like the 5th door, and he just started shouting at me. I'm like, well, what were you expecting to happen? He's like, oh, I knew it would happen. I'm like, well, that's your problem, right? Yeah. You were already expecting that to happen. You're setting yourself up for those things. You are. Like if you manifest it, like. Of course, if you manifest like anything in life, like if you put enough effort into that, you will achieve that. Like if you just focus on like, hey, I used to do this. And self-sabotage really easy too. I used to do this ages ago. When I really wanted something, I would just always think about it, and I would make anything in my world to get it. Yeah. Even if it meant sacrificing like money, time, this, that, and I'd get it. All right, but I didn't actually think about the consequences of getting those things. Like, if that makes sense. Like, it was when I was younger, right? Like, I was like, oh, I want to buy a new car. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, just do whatever I can. I bought this $20,000 car, and I was like, I was getting paid like fuck all and shit like that. Oh, no, I was getting paid all right, but like, I was getting paid like fuck all, but I didn't really think about that. So you financed the thing, or? No, I borrowed money off family. Right, yeah. Anyway, and 3 months later, I ended up selling it and just giving the money back because I couldn't afford the upkeep and stuff. The upkeep and like it was just like, but I had it. I got it. I was desiring to get it, and like the example is, you know, I manifested it. I wanted it, and I got it. Like so, with that thought process too, like what I found with talking with Av as well, like my fiance, by the way, is that you've also got to be conscious about, you know, how limited your scope of belief is in having those types of things, right? Because if you're thinking like in the scope of like what could happen, then that's what's going to happen. But if you're open-minded to like anything could happen, like somebody could just knock on your door and be like, hey bro, look, I'm leaving the country. Here's my keys to my car. Yeah. You know, like that could happen. People go like, oh, that wouldn't happen to me like that. But it happens, you know? But it could. But if you're just not open to that happening, then like I feel like the universe is so literal. It's so literal. Like it's like, oh, you're not open to that? Okay, all right. Take that back. It's like what Jim Rohn says, like, you know, the universe is this endless ocean that people come to drink from with a teaspoon. Right? It's this endless ocean. You come to it to drink from with a teaspoon. Like, it's endless. And you're coming up to it with like this tiny little thing. It's endless. You could come up to it and you could dive right in. You could take it all in if you wanted to. But the problem is we're so limited in the way that we think about the world. We're so limited about what we think our self-worth is. We're so limited in you know, what we think we deserve in life because of so many different reasons, so many different upbringings, so many different circumstances, right? Like, it only takes like a couple of conversations in your childhood to then grow up and you think, oh no, I can't dance because, you know, such and such told me when I was like 5 years old that I'm a terrible dancer. You know, and you live with that stigma. You live with that negative connotation towards that. But if you're just so open-minded to everything, the possibilities are endless. The universe is endless. I'm so open to anything happening. Like, this is... I can't share this story yet. But this is exactly what happened to me the other day. I'll give you such a broad thing, but I can't share the specifics yet. Yeah. I think you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. But I was going through this time where I was just like talking with Av. I'm just like, I can't keep doing this. This is just not good. For whatever reason, I won't explain here, but I just cannot keep pursuing I can't keep going in this direction. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I spoke to a few people. It sounded like I was like, oh man, this sounds like near impossible to do. And I was like, but you know what, whatever, like, I'm open to anything happening. You know, I know that just because I've taught myself and learned myself that like anything is possible for me. Yeah. And I believe that for everybody, right? I really believe that it, like, intrinsically, like, I feel really great and so high just on life. Yeah. Because I really believe anything can happen, and positively, right? And negatively, of course, as well. But positively. And so I was like, oh man, I really don't know how I'm going to change this. Like, I spoke to a few different people. It seems like this is like going to be real tough, real impossible in my situation. And then a couple of days later, I got this little ding in my inbox, and it was somebody reaching out to me, and what they were offering me was exactly what I needed, what I wanted to happen. I was like, you can't, what? Yeah. Okay, let me go into this. And then that spurred on everything else happening. Yeah. Everything else that's happening today with my life that I can't share yet, but I'm super exciting. I'm super excited to share with everybody. But that, like, literally, it was like 2 days later, if that, of me consciously and verbally saying out loud of like, this is not working. I need to change this. Something needs to happen. Yeah. And then 2 days later, ding, in my inbox, somebody reached out to me, and I was just like, oh, fuck, which is projected me onto this whole other life path. Yeah. Which is exactly what I wanted to happen.
You thought that would ever happen, right? Like,
yeah. Well, I didn't even know.
Or if it could happen, like, you know, that's I find that so interesting. If you're open to experiences in life, you'll find places that you never thought existed.
And they'll come to you. They'll come to you. You'll attract them.
100%, you do. And like, even this, right? Like, I was ready to kind of give up for humans.
Yes.
And I just had a thought one day. I was like, okay, what happens if I just open the door for someone to come along and be able to inspire me, but also be a part of this journey with me? And I just putting that post out, Zach coming out, and I was just like, fuck, like, this does, it can open a new doorway, and we'll just keep kicking on with it. And like, you know, and we'll see what comes from it, you know, and we'll just keep adapting and evolving from it. But like, it's like that for anything, right? Like, you've just got to keep, I think a lot of people give up before actually just shifting, like before shifting and figuring out, like, you know, everyone's so closed-minded. It's like, okay, this is the only path I need to be on, and if it doesn't work this way, I may as well just give up. You know, like, it's kind of like with my barbering, right? Like, I've gone around in a full circle and back to where I used to work 3 years ago, but I've gone through, I've done my business and stuff like that, and people will make comments because they are so closed-minded in the way that it's like, you keep moving around. You keep doing too much. You do too much. You do too much. Like, and I hear it all the time. It's like, yeah, what else we're meant to do? Like, go work a 9-to-5 job and come home and do the exact same shit every single day.
You'll do too little.
Fucking bullshit. Like, it's so shit, and it's boring. Like, yes, you know, I might not have a steady income, you know, but I'm making more money in the long run from the efforts that I'm putting in. I'm learning so much more.
Well, your life is better too.
My life is better. Like, but the thing is, things can still be done. Like, it's funny, right? Like, I'll give you guys an example, right? I was so open-minded when I got rid of my business from Sabotage and stuff like that.
Yep.
3 months later, I book a trip to Europe. I did never ever think in my fucking time that I was going through all that shit that I was going to be able to afford to go to Europe. And I was just open to it, and I thought, you know what, fuck it, it's just money. Figure it out somehow. And it just happened. And I was open to it all. And like, I didn't have to borrow money. I didn't have to do anything like that. I had the money there. And it was like, it just how it could change like that. You could be in so much debt and so much stress, and then all of a sudden I'm spending money going over Europe and not have to worry about money or anything like that. You know, I wasn't given money. I wasn't anything like that. I was just so open to the possibility of things
working out for the better. That's it. Jim Rohn has this excellent. He has so many great lectures. Jim Rohn is this older. He's passed away now, but. Financial motivational type of a guy. He's fucking phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal.
Is it the guy that speaks really like
and
poetically? He's like,
yeah.
So that's
I love him. He definitely does that intentionally, and it's so good because when he talks, you remember it. So he has this one thing where he says like, you know, he calls it the language of the poor, right? And it's not just poor like money wise, but poor mindset wise as well. It's like, oh, you know, but if I did that thing, you know, what if that happened, you know? And oh, geez, if that happened, what if this happened? Oh goodness, and then I'd really be in something if that happened. But then what if this happened? And he's just like, and it's just like, oh, it's just so risky, you know? And he's just like, everything's risky. You know, waking up in the morning is risky. Life is risky. Marriage is risky. It's all risky. Let me tell you something. Life is risky. You're not going to get out alive.
We all die.
Yeah,
that's a big one, man. But I think I think the best thing to think about there is flipping instead of going, oh, what if this happens like in a negative way?
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Why don't you go,
that's it.
What if you pull this off?
Exactly.
Like, and what if we, you know, do the business that we do? It only takes one thing, one video, one post, one business, one thing to just work and change your life for fucking ever. Yeah,
that's it. I think we're so naturally inclined, for better or worse, to consider the negatives because we as human beings, while we think about the tribal mindset, back in the last podcast we were talking about like the rejection, we also have to intrinsically think about the risks that are involved with things, because if we did things and we broke our leg, then like there's death. If we did things and then like something bad happened, then it's death. But now we don't have to think like that, so now we can ascend past that way of thinking, because that's baseline, right? That's baseline thinking is like, I need to consider the risks because my life is at stake. Thankfully nowadays, like you can like screw up so bad, like if you're not dead, if you don't die, like there's no, and if you don't die and you don't quit, then you'll never lose. You never lose. Like no matter what you do, no matter how bad it gets, like if you just don't quit, or if you don't die, obviously, like that's always. But if you just don't quit, you're never gonna lose in anything in life. And the way of thinking that I think a lot of people need to switch up is exactly that. They need to think like, you know, it's like not like what could happen that negatively, but like think, oh my goodness, like if I just did this thing and this person said to me, you know what, Zach, that sounds like a great idea. You know, this is exactly what I've been looking for. That's exactly what I've been waiting for somebody to hear. And it's exactly what happened with the first guy that I sold his house, right? I knocked on his door. If I was just in the mindset of because I got to like maybe 250 doors that day. It's the 9th day of working. It's really hot. You know, it was like 3 in the afternoon, 3:50 in the afternoon, something like that. I'm standing there and I just completed the street. I'm like thinking, oh man, I just go back to the office, kick up. I'm sweating. I'm a little bit tired. But I was like, you know what? I'll just do 50 more. I did 50 more and I met Noel, and Noel's just like, I'm so glad you knocked on my door. I'm like, why? He's just like, I've been trying to sell this house. You know, nobody's wanted to come talk to me. I can't believe you're speaking to me right now. I've been thinking about this all the time. I'm like, okay, great. And I ended up selling his house, and he was so stoked. He was so beautiful to work for. And he's just out there living life now. He's so super stoked on life. But like, it's just like, if you can think of, like when I was at that crossroads there, I'm like, oh, you know, I could knock on 50 doors, but they're just all probably going to say no like everybody else did. Yeah. Or I could just be like, look, I'll just do another 50, you know, because this was literally my thought in my head. I was like, you know, I've spoken to like maybe 250 people at that time, and I'm like, okay, surely I'm close to hearing somebody say yes.
Yeah.
I'm close. I'm like, surely I'm close.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm pretty close. Surely now. I'm like, let's just do another 50. Let's find this person. And I did, and it worked out fantastically. And that's just one example of many examples. But it's just like, if you just think about how good something could be, if you can pull it off, and people, and like, unfortunately, like, try not to tell this to everybody, because you're going to say you're like, oh, I've got this plan, I've got this vision for my business. If I do this and it works out, it's going to be incredible. You tell that to a lot of people are just going to be like, oh, but have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? Yeah. Like, be careful who you talk to, because you're going to invite unwanted things into your life that are going to pull you down in that opposite direction where you're going to try. So be mindful of who you're, revealing these plans to, right? Yeah. Of course, because these negative things are always going to try and jump in, right? And of course, you always think about the risk, right? But you've got to think about how good can it be.
Yeah.
Like, because it can be unimaginably better. Yeah. It can always be.
It's got to be bigger than the risks, like the risks that you're actually taking. You got to be like, okay, if I do invest this money, if I do invest this time into this project or whatever it is, what are the best possibilities that are going to come out of it? Is it going to excite me more than, is it going to get me through those times when it's like struggling or when you're financially struggling or you're tired or whatever it is? Are you going to be able to push through that? If it's just like, it's pretty exciting, but it's not like, you're not motivated or passionate by it. Yep. When it gets to that crunch time of like, fuck, I'm exhausted mentally, or fuck, like, I'm down to my last dollar, you're not going to push through. So like, you've got to go, you got to be like, I've already experienced that with Sabotage. Like I just gave it up because I wasn't motivated more than what I was going through.
Yeah. Your pain threshold was reached, and you're feeling that more than anything.
I wasn't inspired by it anymore. So it was kind of like, well, what's the point of me doing it? If I was more inspired by it, that's why it was a prime example of when I was running private studio and then got into Sabotage.
Yeah.
I was working like night times after working all day at Sabotage because I was so motivated by this idea of creating this space. And we achieved it. And like, I look back at it now and I'm like, fuck, like I went through some fucking crazy times, like literally working like 18, 19, 20-hour days, coming home exhausted, like, and then working all day at private studio and then doing content and then like, building stuff, stresses, money, borrowing this, borrowing that.
Pitching this, pitching that. Yeah.
But the thing is, it wasn't anything to me because my vision was so much more powerful than those problems and those risks.
100%. And then, look, if you look on back at now, it's just like, oh, it's terrible. But look at all the people you met. Look at the people that met you. Yeah. Look at all the things that have happened because of that.
Well, I'm more inspired by the lessons that I got from it. So that I don't actually look at the bad stuff that's happened. Like, I don't really I'm like, actually, I don't look at it as a bad experience at all. Like, it's just my biggest experience that I've had so far or recently that has taught me so many lessons from life, from education, from like, just business and it's just everything, right? Like, it's taught me so much. So why am I going to diss that?
It's such a, and it kind of ties in nicely to what we're talking about, last podcast, right? Is you get familiar and comfortable in the uncomfortable, right? Because on the opposite end of that is like all these incredible, like, benefits and riches of going through that. These lessons, people you meet, circumstances change. You just don't know what you're setting up for your future. You just never know. And so you can never really, like, dread it.
No.
At least I feel that way. I can never feel like, there's been so many times where, like, my bank, my bank's at zero, but obviously in this day and age, we can go well past that. We can blow on past zero. Yeah. And I can, and my bank's at zero, and I'm like, oh man. And it blows on past that. I'm like, oh man.
Minus this, minus that.
Minus that. It's like, it's just like, I could so easily sit there and be like, oh no. But I just know that if I never quit, everything is going to work out exactly how I envision it to work out. Yeah. And then it's going to work out even more so. I don't know if you want to end it on this one, but I had this dream a couple of weeks ago. I told Av about it. I woke up I from time to time I have these really like widening dreams. I had this dream where I was playing with Aura out in the backyard, and the backyard was exactly how I wanted my future house to look. It had this beautiful courtyard, and then it had all this like fields in it, and had this pool over there, and we were just playing on the swing set there. And like I could look up at the house, and the house was this beautiful like Mediterranean type style, and I could see Av, she's up there like cooking dinner or getting something prepared, put on plates or something like that. And I could see that, I could see Aura, I'm looking down, looking at, and the sun's setting over the treetops there, and it's hitting the valley, and it looks so beautiful. And I remember like thinking in that moment, I'm looking around, I'm like, wow, life can get way, way better than you could ever possibly imagine it could be.
Yeah.
Because I woke up and I thought, holy shit, can it get that good?
Yeah.
Because I always thought that I was always in this mindset of like, oh yeah, you know, life can get better than you can imagine it. But then I saw it in that dream, and I'm like, wow, I really saw that it could get better than I could imagine it. Because where we live right now with my family, we're all together. We've got our little, granny flat that we live in.
Yeah, yeah.
And we've got a little slice of grass, and I'm like, oh, this is nice. This is, this is nice. We're all together. It's homely and all these things. And I always like knew that like I'm striving towards a higher purpose, higher goal. But then I had that dream, and I saw that vision, and I'm like, wow, it can really get better than you could possibly imagine it.
Yeah.
Possibly imagine. And to see it play out, I'm like, wow. Like, it just, for whatever reason, it clicked in my head. It's like, it can really happen.
Yeah.
It can get better than you could imagine it. And I think, when you really feel that, when you really see it, feel it, hear it, be about it, then it's just like,
you've got to embody it. You've got to feel it, because it's the purest feeling. Because once you embody that feeling, once you understand that exists, you strive for that feeling over it, like all 100%. The time. Right? Like, it's like anything in life, and that's when you really truly believe that it exists. Yeah. When you've actually got to experience that. Like, anything, like if you get a once in a lifetime opportunity to, fly business class, and then it's not necessarily about the materialistic stuff, but the certain experiences in life, like getting to see like the Mediterranean Sea, or like getting to just experience like your child's life in a good light, or just kind of the abundance of it all. You get you understand that once you've felt that feeling, that it exists in real life.
It's possible.
It's not just in your mind anymore. It actually,
or it's not just for other people.
It's not just for other people and stuff like that. It's literally for everyone. Yeah. But yet again, you've got to believe that you deserve it.
Yeah.
And that you can achieve it, because you can. Like
100%. 100%. And it all boils down to people realizing that, you are worth it, right? You are deserving of love. You are deserving the best of life, And
just to put here as well, we haven't achieved any of that yet. Like, we've achieved a few things, but the thing is, as you can hear through our language and how we speak, we hope, which we will, speak it into existence, and then be the proof to show to everyone else that from what we spoke about today and how we speak about it, that it is achievable through our mindset and our language and stuff.
100%. Like so. And it's not even a hope anymore. I know that it's happening. I know that it's. I know for a fact that it is like already here, and I am just doing the actions that is just calling it forth. Yes. That I'm just doing the actions to accept it. It's already here in this life. I've already called it in. Yeah. I'm already done everything to get it. And I'm just doing the actions that bring it towards me. And I feel like everybody's worthy of that. Everybody, we just got to love ourselves. Got to treat that inner child real nice, self-talk, everything like that.
But also got to be ruthless. You got to be a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, sweet. We're good.
We're good.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks, man. See you guys.